Hi, this is K.N.Fitzwater. You're watching my channel. Today, we are continuing on our life beginnings and always. And we're eating breakfast and seeing what the day is going to be. Breakfast was eaten in peace and alone. Your moms were both out by the time you had gotten up. They left you a serving of food from breakfast they made hash browns, an omelet, fruit salad, and there were a few sausage legs. Yes! Best breakfast ever! You took a little bit of everything. You passed on some parts because they weren't the things you like. You passed on some parts because you're trying to avoid meat, which I could see. I could see some people. You passed on them because you're trying to avoid animal products. That's almost the whole thing. You took a little bit of everything. I'm not a vegan, and I don't really hate on people who have to have diets because um, it affects their health and they want to be a healthy person. I also understand that some people choose to become vegans to help animals and try not to have it where we're more of a meat focused society. So I get that too. But I don't appreciate people putting other people down and making themselves feel superior no matter what type of clique they're part of. Um, that's always going to rub me the wrong way. So if you're like a really nice, understanding vegan and you're chill, I'm okay with it. Because not everyone has the um, finances to go vegan. And some of the alternatives can be more expensive depending on where you live. Like maybe on the West Coast or East Coast, it may be cheaper because some of these foods are more readily available, I should say. Especially in California, where it's more or less the breadbasket. There's a lot more intense agriculture going on. It may be a lot easier to get the cheaper vegan alternatives. This is a place where I am right now, but it's sort of in the middle of the country, Appalachian, south of the Great Lakes type of situation. So I wouldn't want to put people down because they're not able to be vegan because of the economy, you know? But let's move on. It was tasty. You appreciated that there was a variety in the meals your moms made. The day lazily drifted by. You pulled open the fridge again, lingering in the frosty air for a moment or two before grabbing a bottle of ice cold water and taking a long drink. It's a perfect balmy summer afternoon, and you had decided to head outdoors and find something to do. You haven't decided what that something was just yet, but you were sure something would pop up to occupy your time. Again, we're dealing with a lot of these very slow openings that I really would like us to get into the action. Compared to the first segment when we were kids, there's a lot of stuff happening and every day is an adventure. This was very slow, dragging your feet a little bit. I feel like we're doing a hiccup and clearing our throat, which is probably why some lit agents will turn down a book if they see that kind of opening right off the bat. I'm glad it's here in the middle. I already experienced all the good parts of the story, so I don't mind it too much. But man, if this was right off the bat, I would have been very bored. You step out the front door and onto the street, deciding which way to go first when a voice caught your attention. Hi, Cypher. Confused, you look over to an unrecognizable woman was waving at you, a friendly smile plastered on her face. You rack your memory for where you might have seen her before, but nothing came to mind. Not your school, not from the country club your moms took you. Oh, they go to the country club? You had absolutely no idea who the woman was. The woman crossed the road towards you, and you were a little unsure whether you should stay put or go back to the house and lock the door. Oops, I'm sorry. Was that presumptuous? I heard about you, but I have no idea. But you don't have any idea who I am, do you? Oh no, is this Cove's mom? You shook her head as she removed her sunglasses to reveal a sparkly ocean blue eyes. All of a sudden, she seemed a little more familiar. My son lives here, and my ex too. With a bent smile, she lifted a hand to point at the condo across the street from your own house. She was Cove's mom. You didn't know why you hadn't realized sooner, now that you got a good look at her. She seems nice. She looked really young. It made sense she was Cove's mom. She felt so different to Cove. She's super pretty. Actually, I would say she's super pretty. Because that would be the very first impression that would hit me. This beautiful lady was Cove's mom? Wow. She extended a hand again, this time for you to take, and you steadied the manicured fingers in front of your face and the assortment of bracelets that dangled from her wrist. Yeah, she moved on very well from the divorce. I'm Kyra Priest. You can call me Kyra. You shook her hand. You have no choice. It's out there. You gotta shook it. You gotta shake the shooky. Shook the shaky. You reached out and took her hand, and she shook yours firmly, grinning wide. Oh, you already know my name? That I do. Cove's mentioned you to me before. It's nice to officially meet you, Cypher. He did? Cove and I weren't really friends. I also heard that. Maybe that'll change one day? What has Cove said about me? I would definitely want to do that. What are you doing here? Actually, I want to know what he said. I'm curious now. You got me. Oh, I can't tell you that. I already said too much. She laughed good-naturedly. You can be happy about that answer, though. The sound of a door opening and closing caught both of your attentions, and when you turned towards the sound, it was to find Cove exiting his house, his eyes skimming the ground. Considering just how tall he had grown, you kind of figured his mom also would have been tall, but she was much more on the short side for an adult anyway. Cove's height must have come from his father. There you are. I thought you were going to keep me standing here all day. You said nothing as Cove walked over to the two of you. When he finally looked up, he noticed you were there and raised his eyebrows curiously. You couldn't quite tell if the expression that crossed his face was confusion or relief. Cove and I were heading into town to grab something to eat while the snore is at work. Kyra beamed at Cove and ruffled his hair, which only seemed to upset him more. You assumed the snore she was talking about was Mr. Holden. Oh, I think I know why they separated. She's an uber party girl. I don't want any sort of commitment. Maybe, I don't know. Hey, you should come with us, Cypher. I would love to get to know you better. Yeah, you should come. I am coming because of Cove. That sounded off at the moment I said it! You were a little taken back by Cove's agreement. You hadn't imagined being stuck with him and his suddenly appearing mom for the afternoon, especially not if he was going to be gloomy the whole time. Of course, we'll run it by your parents first, responsibility and all that. It'll give me an excuse to meet them, which I need to do at some point. It's important to be neighborly if I'm going to be roosting in the street for a time being. Anyways, let's go. She's going to be on the street? For a while? How long is she going to be here? Kyra walked ahead towards her house, and you hung back with Cove, who crinkled his nose as he watched her. He doesn't like her. You can see it. I'm sorry about her, but I really do want you to come. I don't want it to be just the two of us. Not right now. I didn't know your mom was coming over. Don't you usually go to where she is? Yeah, she's gonna be staying with us for the summer. She just got here this morning. I thought legally she's supposed to visit you sometimes, not a whole multiple days in a week type of thing. It was a surprise they planned. Oh, maybe his parents are finally getting back together. Maybe this is a good thing. Maybe. His face scrunched up more. You nodded in understanding. Cove had been through a lot with both of his parents the past few years. Seemed like it was still taking some time to adjust. The two of you headed over to where Cove's mom had just knocked on your front door, stood behind her. Mom answered the door after a minute, her eyebrows lifting in surprise at the group she found in front of her. You realized that, like you, she would have no idea it was Cove's mom who was hanging with you. However, after blinking at the woman a couple of times and looking between her and Cove, the realization seemed to strike on her. Hello there, I'm Pamela. I see you met my kid Cypher, and I'm guessing you already know Cove for a while. Kyra laughed, and you and Cove exchanged looks at your parents' weird sense of humor. I'm Kyra Cruz, Cove's mom. It's so nice to meet you. Okay, now you get to see both moms. A head of purple-brown hair caught your eye as Ma popped up behind Mom, squeezing herself in beside her. We have company. I was wondering what all the commotion was. She grinned excitedly at Kyra, and the two of them introduced themselves and shook hands. Hi. Hi, Cypher, Cove. Cove smiled at Ma shyly, and she gestures a hand towards the living room. There's no use hanging around in the doorway. Why don't you come in? I'd love to, but I promised to take my son out to eat, and I wouldn't want to hold you up with a surprise visit. I understand. You're welcome to stop by anytime. Of course. I'll take you up on the offer when I can. Count on it. Would you mind too much if Cypher went with Cove and I? My treat. We won't be driving, just a quick walk down the road. Sure, that sounds nice. I hope you all have fun. You gave your moms a look and the smile too fondly. You were happy they were letting you go. No, it's okay. It's okay. Cove wants me to go. I'm going to support Cove. It seemed like Cove needed the support, and you were starting to feel pretty hungry anyway. Marvelous. Expect us back in an hour or two. We look forward to seeing you again. Take care. Your parents waved goodbye to the three of you as they back up into the street. There was sound of the front door closing behind you. I'm pretty positive I saw some restaurants when I was in the taxi. Not too far from here. Yeah, it's a tourist town, isn't it? There's a lot of them around. It's kind of strange to see Cove give someone this much attitude. If he wasn't in the mood to be nice, he generally just kept to himself. Kyra put her hands on her hips and smiled at her son. Well, you sound like the area expert. Do you have any recommendations for a place nearby? Not really. Kyra pouted at him a little and turned to you instead. What about you, Cypher? Want to point me in the right direction? Oh boy. I'm not enthusiastically wanting to showcase everything to her because I don't know what to do with her. First off, let me move my camera up. Again, I'm sorry for the blinding light, washing everything out. I worked very hard to put on makeup and look nice today, and it's just Una's honest black and white contrast right now. You shrugged, not really. Share of a couple of favorites. I am torn between nodding and shrugging. I mean, they're both blue. I guess that means something. I forgot what it means. I think it's more confidence. I guess I shrug indifference, just like Cove. I'll imitate him, see how that goes. You've been to a lot of places in town, but none of them really stood out. But let's head into town and see what we can find. Will you show us the way? Ye- You nodded, taking the lead of your little group as Cove and his mom followed behind you. Together, the three of you left the neighborhood behind. You know, the way she's squinting her eyes like that with that smile, I feel like she has a bit of a devious nature, and there may be a reason why, they had separated, but I still don't know why. I feel like she's up to no good. I really do. You walked in, you walked around for a little while, looking at the different options and gazing to the various shop windows. Most of the restaurants you passed were filled with guests already, sampling the town's various food places. When you headed past a familiar place with gold writing on the glass and the red lacquer roof that you always had admired, you started to slow down. My family comes here all the time. It's really good. Hmm, I think we have a winner. I always love Chinese food. Let's head on in. The restaurant was busy as usual, but luckily you were shown right to a small table. Kara lowered herself into the chair while Cove picked the one diagonal to her, not facing her, but to her side. It was awkward. Let's see, to start, what would you all like to drink? I'll get an orange soda. Cypher? Uh, I didn't drink coffee until I was in my later high school years. I sometimes would do sweet tea, which I'm surprised it's not on here. I guess pop. Which flavor? Ooh, wait, root beer. Yes, root beer. Always root beer. Sure. Kyra placed the order for your drinks, getting a black hot coffee for herself, and it didn't take long before they were brought to the table and set in front of you. You took a long sip of your drink as you looked around the restaurant. Your small group checked over the menus and you decided to order the usual thing. You've been to this restaurant many times, so you knew what was good and what wasn't already. Kyra and Cove didn't need any encouragement for this. They would totally focus on the information in front of them. Soon the meals too were ordered and the menus taken away. You glanced at the table surface, waiting to figure out what to say. Cove sunk further into his seat and avoided eye contact. He started to twiddle his thumbs while acting like this was all perfectly normal. His sour feelings today were ignorable. Instead of asking more open questions, he brushed off. Kyra had mercy on her son and instead put her focus towards you. Great. So, Cypher, what's a few things that you're into? There's gotta be something you do for fun, especially now that you're not buried in school assignments. Oh my god! Geez. I did like to read. Oh, there's none of those colors. I like to read. Games are fun. I like to play. Um, I didn't get into fashion until after college, really. Actually, no, during college. I was getting into fashion then. Um, oh, I was really into my violin and I was doing art, which really trumps reading sometimes and playing games. I didn't get into writing until recently in my life. Do I have an option to go back? See, I did music every day because I was in the orchestra. I have been in the orchestra since I was in elementary school. I stopped recently, of course, on my violin. Um, it's different playing your violin for others And playing it for yourself, I didn't have the same passion to play my violin when I turned the energy just for my own amusement. Um, I had other things that really fill in that type of creative juices now, such as collage or um, writing my books. Let me check. What I do for fun. Okay, fun is different. Fun. Art. Let's go art. I was really into drawing. Oh, and they allowed me to do more. And music. I play the violin. It is a beautiful. Oh, it is a beautiful instrument. Um, and oh, I get to do more. Okay, good. Um, I like to read. Fiction novels actually was more my cup of tea. Me too. Nothing beats curling up with a good book. Manga. I haven't heard that style. I'm sure it's very good. Nice. And games are fun. I like to play. Oh, all of them. um, video games. I don't know much about them. Maybe you can show me sometime. Board games. That's great. We all should play a game together sometime. And card games. I like card games too. Maybe we all could play together sometime. Ooh. And I like to watch cartoons. It's pretty addicting when you get a good series, isn't it? And movies. Kyra nodded her head, and she guessed she liked that too. And you didn't say anything else. There we go. I may give too much away to a stranger, but she's not a complete stranger. And I suspect this game is logging that away so that way Cove and everyone else know exactly what you like because they know you already. I think it's their way of trying to suss out more of who you are and try to show that here in this game. But it's not bad. It feels a little bit jarring when this happens. Thanks. I'm happy to learn more about you. There's so much I haven't heard. Cove leaves the details out. He was trying not to pay attention, but you could tell he was uncomfortable. Hoping it would clear some of the tension in the air, you decided to ask Kyrie if you had questions of your own. Coven had told you much about her, and you were curious to know more about this woman who was such a big part of his life. What exactly do you do for work? I'm a travel writer for magazines and things. I keep people in the loop on what's worth seeing. It's good work. Okay, so actually that doesn't sound bad. Wow. I'm gonna put that last. Actually, why did you and Mr. Holden get divorced? Cove nudged you in the arm, and when you look at him, he seemed furious. Harry brushed the question off lightly. That's grown up stuff. You should enjoy your youth while you can without having to worry about all that. Oh, I made him mad. I'm sorry. Cove sipped his soda angrily, slurping up the remaining drink with furrowed brows. He looked ready to run straight out of the restaurant. You wonder if he was annoyed that you were spending the time talking to his mom, but he hadn't seemed to want to talk to her at all. Made a silly face at him? You smiled at him? Now I'll give him the sympathetic look. Cove eventually noticed you watching him, and you gave him a look to let him know you were there for him. It took a couple of minutes, but finally he cracked a smile, and that made you feel a little lighter inside. Yes, we're able to do a recovery. Oh man, I mean, I feel sorry. I have to be blunt. I gotta put her on her toes because I don't know. I don't know what her agenda is, and he doesn't like her a lot. So I'm trying to do some cues based on what Cove is trying to show me in this game, so that way I could like coordinate with him and see whether she is really a bad guy or really she's a good guy. And I don't know. I don't know much about her, but I did not mean to make him mad. You two seem really cute together. Cove covered his face with his hands and leaned back in his seat.
Seriously?
Mom, why would you say that? You felt bothered too. You blush. Oh. You blush. The way she said that had embarrassed you. You weren't prepared to have Cove's own mom describe the normal interactions the two of you had as cute. Your meals were delivered shortly after that, and everything was so delicious, even Cove enjoyed his food.
Okay.
Alright, now that we're all fully content, can you explain, please, why you had a bug up your butt all day? Cove's face scrunched at that. I mean, seriously, baby, what did Mom do to make you this mad? I haven't even been around a full day yet. He gripped the edge of the table, refusing to make eye contact. The words he spoke were barely audible over the din of the restaurant. This is really tough because he also has me there, and he can't really tell her in private his true thoughts. So this is going to be rough. You could have told me. She leaned forward to not miss anything, eyebrows raised. Told you what? He finally seemed to find his voice and spoke the thoughts that had been on his mind. That I wasn't going to visit you this year, that you were going to be coming instead. Didn't you invite me? You wanted me here with you? Cove's eyes began to shake, and his frustration ebbed. I don't want you to be around, but I didn't know it would be like this. It's not the same, and nobody said anything. I see. See, again, with the, dagger eyes. Her expression grew tense. She threaded her fingers together and placed her hands in front of her on the table. We have been gifted another Clifford surprise. Referring to that as a Clifford surprise almost caused both you and Cove to crack a smile. You also had no idea his name wasn't just Cliff. Over 5 years, nobody had ever called him Clifford until now. She smoothed her hair out, not letting go her stern look. The more things change, the more they stay the same. They both let out identical laughs, but smiled weakly at one another afterwards. I can go home, Cove. We can still set up a normal trip to my place before the summer ends. Cove's lips tightly closed together. He seriously pondered the option. I think I do want you to stay. I miss it when you're not there. My heart! She reached across the gap, grabbed his face, and planted a kiss on his cheek. Cove tried to wiggle away. Mom, stop. I'm sorry. Sweet young men need to be smooched by their parents. If I don't, they'll take away my mom license. Kyra was completely enthused by Cove's admission, though a tone of seriousness did return to her voice when the conversation continued. Do you want to talk to your dad too? No. Cove had snapped the word instantly, but reeled his annoyance back in just as quickly. Maybe later. Not today. I understand we could shelve it. Thanks, Mom. Thank you for talking to me, little, mister. Oh! I thought she was going to refer to Cypher, but no, it's, him. I'm beginning to realize that sometimes Mr. Holden sets up plans and leaves out the details so that way he somehow in his mind everything magically comes together. But I don't know. I'm still sus of her. I don't know if she's really, really good or not. So I'm on the fence. She grinned affectionately at him before turning away. And thank you, Cypher. Oh, what did I do? It's easy to act like a baby with your mom. It's harder to keep that up with your neighbor watching everything. Mom. Yeah, she knows to work the magic. But I'm not sure that's actually a bad thing or not. She just ruffled his hair with a laugh, then moved her hand down to tap the end of his nose. And that was how the issue was resolved, at least between Cove and his mom. When the three of you left the restaurant and Kyra had paid the bill, you walked back to your neighborhood slowly. You had eaten so much by that time you were beginning to feel sleepy. It didn't help that the lunch had happened late and the sun was already beginning to descend from the sky. Oh, he changed. Wow, he looks like Fabio. But eventually you reach your street. Someone was there to greet your group upon arrival. Welcome back, family, and Cypher too. Liv, Dad. The two walked past him into the condo without sparing another word. Despite the summer heat, their shoulders were cold. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. He rubbed the back of his neck with a crooked smile, but his eyes were soft as he looked on after them. He's so much like his mom, don't you think? I hope it's a good way. He gave a vague nod, not sure what he was expecting you to do. He nodded back, far more energetically. Okay, have a nice night, Cypher. You too, Mr. Holden. With that, Cove's dad disappeared to join the others inside. It was your turn to go home now. Summer hadn't started off at all how you mentioned it would have been, though it turned out to set the tone well. Having Kyra in the neighborhood was a new experience for not only you and Cove, but also both your families, and a dull moment was rarely had. That was it. That was it, and I think we could do one of these for this episode. Let me do family. Let me just do that, because we're dealing with my cousin, we're dealing with, Cove's parents, we're dealing with, Jeremy, being upset about his family, meeting other parts of his family. So let's go ahead and get into family. I think that's a very strong theme, and we could do that. And I love this. I did notice how detailed this art is over here in the secondary distance before you hit the ocean. That's really well done. I love that. Ah! Okay. Alrighty, let's go. The sun warmed your skin from its place in the sky, and you closed your eyes, enjoying the mix of the heat with the pleasant breeze that drifted past you. You and Lee had spread out a blanket on top of one of the hills behind your house, been relaxing there for a while now. Lee had come over earlier in the day, and while a range of activities had been discussed, from staying home to heading down to the beach, a picnic on the hill had been the choice you both settled on. A small spread was laid out in front of you, some bottled water, soft drinks, small chips, and sliced fruit. He sat up and reached for a snack, listening to Lee talk away about the musical she had gone to see a few days ago. Oh my goodness, she's so Ariel! Oh, I love her. It was unbelievable. There was singing, dancing, and crazy stunts, and it was all done live right in front of my face. Maybe one day we could go together. I gotta see more shows like that. He smiled at Lee's enthusiasm, knowing how much she enjoyed singing and performing. And she was good at it too. You had gotten the chance to hear her sing a couple of tunes, and you know she put a lot of effort into it. You also liked to sing, but you weren't very good. I'm not talented. You weren't good at singing, that suited you fine. It wasn't something you were interested in doing anyway. I wonder, maybe we could put on our own show. Think of how fun it would be. We could perform for our parents and ask our friends, some other people to come and watch too. It'll totally work. The idea gave you a strange fight? Yeah, I would be scared. But wouldn't showing off to everybody be fun? The thought of an audience make you queasy. Not really. Are you really super sure? You have so many skills you could show off to the masses. Okay, I'll do it. You could see that Lee was really excited about the idea, so with a small nod of your head, you agreed to go along with it. I'm gonna sing. What about you? I know singing isn't your thing. Oh boy. I could play an instrument. Yeah, I'll play an instrument, the violin. And remember, I knew it was a thing. You know, that thing. That would be perfect. Is there anything else that's coming to your head? No, that's all. That's all I'm gonna do. The two of you ran back to your house to grab the supplies you needed, dodging your mom's amused questions before heading back out to the blanket to get started. You gently pulled the violin out from the velvet lined case. Lee and you discussed the plans in detail, settling on a song first, and then practicing out parts for the show. The afternoon passed quickly, the sun dropping lower and lower in the sky. And after having thoroughly worked out how the show was going to go, you decided to take a break. Oh, we should have invited Cove to watch us practice our show. He could tell us if it's bad before we put on the real thing. I would be... I guess that would have been okay. It might have been nice for Cove to be there, but you felt weird when thinking about him watching the show. We could ask him to watch us another time. Maybe. It's too dark. It's too bad Derek isn't in the neighborhood today. I like him. Actually, I don't mind Derek. Yeah, he's a good person, would be what I would say. I knew you'd think so. So, exactly how much do you like him? Or maybe there's someone else I haven't heard of yet? Are we talking about relationships? Of course we are. This is a romance thing. Lee wiggled her eyebrows at you seductively, and you knew exactly what she was implying. I have a crush? Oh boy. Actually, I may have to start getting the ball rolling. I always had crushes around that time. Lee's eyes sparkled in an instant, like she just hit the jackpot. Wait, who is it? I'm not giving you a name. Tell me something else about them then. This news was just too exciting. She was going to be deterred. You weren't surprised when Lee started squeezing you for more details, and you answered as much as you were comfortable with. The two of you talked about your preferences and who you like and stuff. You found that it was nice having someone to speak with about these sort of things. Finally, you both decided to pack everything up and head back home for the evening. Lee talked excitedly about the show as he did, and you thought back on what you already accomplished for it. You could definitely do with a little more practice, but what you had so far was a solid foundation for the performance. Uh oh, something came up. Upon walking through the front door, you were met by your moms and Elizabeth hovering around each other in the living room. Tension hung thick in the air as the three of them turned to you and Lee, frowning slightly. Yet it interrupted something. Exactly what, you weren't sure. Wow, who died? Well, I would say what's going on. Your moms looked at each other, wondering which of them was going to speak first. Eventually, Mom cleared her throat and spoke. We're just having a talk with your sister. The room fell quiet again, with no one quite knowing what to say. You felt incredibly awkward, but the silence didn't last long. You don't have to stop because these two were here. There's no reason to try keeping it a secret. Elizabeth was mad, with her arms folded defensively over her chest, but your mom's not in agreement with her. Elizabeth was asking about her parents, her biological ones. She was adopted? No, wait. Are we talking about the donors? Is she adopted or is she talking about the donors? The world spun around you with the news. You couldn't understand. Why was this happening now? When you glanced at Lee, she shuffled her feet uncomfortably, as though she didn't know she should be there or not anymore. You didn't know either. Your moms had always been open and honest about the fact that neither of them had given birth to you or your sister, but the details haven't been fully explained before. Oh, we were adopted. Okay. Wow. It made sense that Elizabeth didn't know a lot about her biological parents and wanted to know more. You just haven't ever thought you accidentally stumbled into it. Elizabeth looked at your parents expectantly. She wasn't going to let the unintentional interruption derail things. We don't want to keep that information from either of you. It's your right to know your past. But we did want to wait until you ask us to hear yourselves. Well, it's happening now, so. Mom shared a nervous glance, and Ma took in a quick breath before speaking again. I adopted you from the Philippines when you were just a baby. Elizabeth dropped her arms. Her eyebrows shot upwards in surprise. Wait, I wasn't born here? No, you weren't. You could clearly see that your sister was appalled by this information. You struggled even more with what to do or how to react. Am I going to have to pass some tests to even be a citizen? This is a legit concern that's been going on in the US. If you're not born inside the US, it's even harder to be a US citizen. And that sucks. That really, really sucks. Some families were split because of stuff like this.
No.
No, you were adopted into the country. You took care of things. You're already a citizen. You have nothing to worry about. Which is good. Because there's a lot of bureaucracy and red tape it comes to adoptions. Some of it to protect the child, some of it is politics. And I'm glad they put that in the game where everything's taken care of, but it could have been worse. I followed all the laws when it came to bringing a child into the US. Nothing could be held against you. Elizabeth sighed, classic, placated, placitated. I can't pronounce this word. Calmed by the information, but still far from happy. Who were my parents? As people. Why did they put me up for adoption in the first place? Ma softly put her hands over Elizabeth's shoulders, trying to provide some support before she gave her the answer. I'm sorry, sweetie. Your parents reported to have died. They didn't go into details on the specifics of how, but you are an orphan. I wish we had better news for you, Elizabeth. Elizabeth was torn between emotions, her eyes filled with tears. She threw her hands in the air, settling on enraged. Great! So I can never meet them, even if I wanted to. Not that I could have anyway, since they live in another part of the world when they were still alive. It's not their fault. I mean, honestly, you had a totally different life if you were never adopted by these ladies. Elizabeth turned her back on you and your moms and stormed off, sprinting up the stairs and to her room before anyone could stop her. I have to go and talk to her. Mom merely started to follow her, but Mom gently held her by the arm and shook her head. We should give her a little space to process it all. Your mom's head hung low, but she stopped walking. With Elizabeth now gone, the two of them seemed to remember you and Lee were still standing awkwardly off to the side. I'm sorry you had to see all that. It's not how I expected it would have happened when the time came. Since it's the topic of the day, Cypher, is there anything you'd like to ask? You deserve to know, after all. Lee patted your back and gave you a supportive look. Actually, yeah, I am curious, but I'm going to handle the information better. I may be excited by the news. Your parents both nodded in sync to your reply, ready to talk. I can leave if you want to have things be private. I want you to be here. Yeah, because we're going to talk about it anyway. Might as well hear it. Yeah, I could do that. Lee shifted a little closer to you in support, and you were glad to have her there with you. It made you feel a little stronger somehow. You turned to face your parents again, preparing yourself for what they were about to tell you. Mom was the first to speak, voice quivering with emotion. You adopted as a baby, but 2 years after Elizabeth. We used a different organization that time, and you were adopted within the U.S. We're sorry to tell you, Cypher, your parents also had passed away. No other family member took you in, if there were any. That's why we wanted to wait until you asked. We didn't want to suddenly drop that in your lap. We wanted you to be prepared. We're sorry, Cypher. Lee gave you a reassuring squeeze on the arm to show she was there for you. You know, I never experienced adoption. So I really don't know how that feels. I would have been glad to know that I have 2, probably 3 different set of parents. But no, it would have rocked my world. It really would. To know that what is family, what it means to have family, you know, where do I belong in this world? You know, it would have really upended everything. He did kill them, right? You were trying to lighten the moods, but your moms didn't seem any less grim. Thank you for listening, Cypher. If there's anything else you want to know, all you have to do is ask. We'll do our best to answer any questions you have.
Are you okay?
How are you feeling now? Are you going to be okay? Lee watched you closely, as though judging how exactly she should react to what's going on. I would not know how to feel. See, I thought I was biologically theirs. I guess I would be conflicted. I wouldn't be angry, because I think my character had a good relationship with the parents. I wouldn't feel fine, because I will be very emotional. Yeah, I always do that, and it always happens. I'm always the crybaby. I wouldn't do this right off the bat. I'm not okay. We're sorry, Cypher. Your mom's looked just as sad as you felt. No one seemed to have any words after that. If I'm ever mad, I usually go outside the house for walks. If I'm sad, I usually stay in my room. So I would do that. You slowly walked past your mom's and headed to the stairs, your mind racing from the conversation. You told Lee you wanted to be alone. Okay, I'll be downstairs if you need anything. When safely behind your closed bedroom door, you let out a heavy breath before heading over to take a seat on your bed. You lay back on your bed and stare up at the ceiling, tracing the outlines of the old crack and lines up there with your eyes. That could be rewritten differently. It's one of the few stumbles that I'm having with this game. You have no idea what to do now, so you stayed where you were for a while, thinking everything through. Eventually, the sun finished setting, casting long shadows on your bedroom walls until the outside was enveloped by the dark of night completely. All the things your moms had said raced through your mind, and you stayed still, trying to make sense of it all. Knock on the door made you look up, though before you could even move, it swung open, and Elizabeth stood in your doorframe. She walked closer, and you didn't know what to do or what she was planning on saying. When she stood in front of you, she paused, her eyes drifting to the ground as she hesitated. Elizabeth folded her arms, looking you over. Did moms tell you about your parents too? My birth parents also died. Elizabeth broke eye contact after that. Sorry. Why did you want to talk to me? Elizabeth raised an eyebrow at the question, so the answer should be obvious. I was worried about you. I was the one who brought it up, but I made you deal with whatever was left when I was gone. Oh, she's still the wonderful big sister. She sighed, glancing upwards for a moment before settling on you once again. I wanted to ask you what happened without everyone breathing down our necks. I wasn't mad at her. I'm not mad at you. She stuck her nose up a little at that, but her smile was soft. All of this, it upsets me. She slipped back into a scowl. Sorry, Cypher. It's a pretty depressing topic. Oh! Hold on. Okay, I was saying it was a pretty depressing topic. You have to be born in the US to become president. She wanted to be president! Oh no! Oh no. So, no wonder she was mad. She was angry. You had never heard of that dream of hers before. She noticed your bafflement and continued. I get I was never going to be president, but it just feels weird having stuff taken away, not even getting a chance at it. I don't like having to know that when I was born, I was going to have a different, completely different life. So different I can't even think about what it looked like in my head. I could have spoken another language, lived away from everything I ever seen here, had someone else as my sibling. Then my parents died and I was adopted, and the life of God became a fully new thing forever. I can't go back to what it was, even if I wanted to. A heaven has settled between you and the person who became your sister. I felt like that too, or you knew exactly how she felt. I'll let her know. I couldn't stop wondering what my life would have been like if I wasn't adopted, and there were many things that could have been different. Elizabeth watched you seriously. She was still trying to make sense of this to you and herself.
Mm.
I don't know why today was the day. Nothing came up to make me ask the question. It's just something I had in my head for a while. When it was just me and the moms in the living room, just kind of said it finally, and there you go. She shifted from one foot to another, relaxed her stance just a bit. She also spoke more gently. Learning about them and what happened doesn't change how I feel about our family, Zypher. She spoke, fixing you with sharp eyes. I already figured a long time ago that moms weren't our biologic parents. That wasn't news. Technically, one of them could have been related to you. Yeah. Our moms can have kids, just not both together. True, but I'm not half white or native Hawaiian, so no, neither of them could have been my mom.
Nice try.
Nice try, smart Alec. Nothing about the family I was first born in would have made me decide that this wasn't my family anymore. I had hoped you'd be free of my big sisterly status. Don't you think you're so lucky? She bumped her shoulders against yours playfully, her lips tilted at the corners.
You'll always be my little sister.
You'll always be my little sister. You hugged her. Yeah, I was also a huggy person back then, too. It took a few seconds, but she gave you a quick squeeze in return. You took in the moment quietly. Chuckling, she seemed pleased with how the conversation had gone in the end. We should probably head downstairs to make sure moms are okay. It's been a long day for everybody. You gave her a nod. Down we go. Alrighty, so we're going to pause here and end this episode. If you like what you see, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Um, I always try to put up videos on Fridays, and I'll see you next time. Bye.